project. Me and Diego really want to express a good story, not just like through writing, but through like a good videos, good shots, and good everything.
This means a lot.
This means a lot. Like you guys showing up here, it's amazing. You guys showing up here.
Short film. This is our third one.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so sign your names in the front if you want some free merch, and get some snacks before the movie starts, and enjoy.
Hello, my name is Diego Martinez, born and raised here in Laredo, Texas, 21 years old. I'm a filmmaker. I wrote, directed, edited, and shot this documentary that you're watching. Filmmaking means the world to me, and in general, I think it's really important for awareness to be brought to local art communities. I know that art communities are very underrepresented, underfunded. Things like these that shine a light on that community and that scene are really important. It can be important as somebody who's just starting out and wants to get into it. It can be important as somebody who has no idea what it is and might find passion in it. I know that Laredo has amazing and talented people. I know a lot of people aren't generally proud to be from Laredo. I know that there's a lot of people that are somewhat embarrassed to be from Laredo, and I know that there's a lot of people that get deterred simply because they're born in Laredo. Talent is not geographical. Talent is not necessarily made somewhere. Talent is anywhere. I really wanted to find out more about this local film community and see all the different takes and perspectives on their own journeys and that sort of stuff. It's very important, and I hope that a lot of people find a lot of value in this. And so I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Eric Martinez. On my free time, I do a lot of editing on my computer.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Lugo. I was born and raised here in Laredo, Texas.
Hello, my name is Raul Ramos. Graduated from TAMU with a major in communications with a focus in media production.
My name is Jorge Escudero. Graduated in December 2025 from TAMU. Moved to Laredo 5 years old.
My name is Enrique Fiscal. I was born and raised in Nuevo Laredo. I'm a filmmaker.
Hi, my name is Oscar Flote, and I'm a filmmaker.
I was in middle school.
I've always had a fascination with cameras.
This was like my first time ever participating in like a project like this.
Growing up, I used to make like YouTube videos. So like my dream was like as a kid, I wanted to be a YouTuber.
My first time as a student was the fall of 2023. I had just started writing something on like a slow day at work. It had to do with the visual of a towel going into a sanitizer bucket.
I was always very interested in movies since I was a child, but it was until the pandemic that I really got even more into movies.
My choir teacher told me that they were doing Lion King Jr. and I was all into it.
And I always liked telling stories. So I was like, I can make a story into a movie. And once I tried it, I loved it. I couldn't stop.
I would be making my own stories up at 7 or 8. I started using the tablet's camera and noticed that it had a pause feature. And so I used that as a very loose way to cut my own movie.
I was in advanced broadcasting classes in high school, and I always liked being behind a camera. It was just always like really small things with like my friends, like with the student news or like taking clips from my friends. And that was like my first exposure being physically shown.
When I first started taking it seriously, I would say it was like high school junior year. My senior year, that's when I first produced a film of my own and submitted it to anything.
It always seemed like an impossible dream, even more because I used to live in Mexico and I didn't even know the language. But then my parents forced me to study here at TAMU. I didn't want to be here. Then I thought, well, if I'm already in a place that I don't want to be, then why am I going to study something that I don't want to study? That's when I decided to really follow my dream.
With Ode to Phantom Limbs, I wanted to explore a relationship.
Diego kind of took the handles on this one. I'm more of a camera and editing person rather than coming up with my own story.
I wanted to have different styles for the perspectives to really differentiate those two perspectives. When it came to writing Ode to Phantom Limbs, I struggled for a bit in really trying to nail down what I wanted to say. I know that I can get too involved in the research. You just have to finish it. You just have to finish every single part of the process to have a movie. So after we finished writing the script, realizing what we wanted to say and how we wanted to say it, we shot some test footage in locations that I knew I wanted to film in. We were going to places and checking out the lighting, checking out the setups, the framing. We made a post looking for actors, and a lot of people submitted their auditions, and we narrowed it down to 2 actors who we thought would have a more believable chemistry. As actors, they really needed to realize and explore as much as they could the philosophies and ideas of these characters. And as a director, I need to know that and some. I need to know what the camera work is trying to say, what the coloring has to say, what the framing has to say.
With Project Static, we were the actors. We were acting, editing, writing. We're wearing these suits and we're hot and sweaty, and then we go back home, edit. It was a learning process.
John Carpenter and like Wes Craven.
Border crew, they know their things about visual effects, CGI, practical effects.
It was mainly a friend of mine. She introduced me to Wong Kar-wai, who is a Hong Konger filmmaker. That got me into like his whole filmography, Asian cinema in general. I think it's beautiful. I think that has guided my narrative and my visual style.
Andrzej Zulawski, Tim Robinson, Tim Heidecker, Joy Tactics, David Lynch, and S. Craig Zoller, Gaspar Noé. When it comes to music, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, Angelo Badalamenti as well.
Since theater especially is very collaborative and you spend a lot of time rehearsing with other actors and stuff like that, bits of them get rubbed off on you, and then you kind of develop these characters that you have in your toolbox, and then you kind of morph them. I then trust my director to tell me what's right, what's wrong, and then we kind of mold this little figure together until we have the character.
Pretty much Diego's the director, so whenever he pitches an idea, we get to brainstorm.
The movie came like at a really good time in my life. I think I've shared that I was kind of processing like a relationship. I just didn't know what to do. So when I read the script, I felt like it was all the emotions I was feeling.
I really liked the director's previous work. I saw it in Scotty's Film Fest, and I loved the editing on it. And I knew that if I was going to act for anybody, he would be one of the directors that I'd act for.
Hello, my name is Raul Ramos, auditioning for the role of the man.
This felt really raw. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there were certain days when we were doing that argument scene, like I did not want to do that scene. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like that energy that I felt in that moment, which I think kind of added to that realism, because it's heavy conversations. Even if it's acting, like those are still like real emotions you have to kind of convey.
That character, the director gave us some movies to watch, and I watched the movies, and instead of looking at specific performances from actors, I looked for the emotions that the performances were evoking. Because it's film, you don't get months of rehearsals to craft that little guy, so it's a little more research intensive and trying something, being given a note to try it differently. It felt really cool being the one that was in the middle of that space, because I felt kind of transported to this other world, the section of the film where the mannequin that you need to like adjust, and being in that room, everything to do with that scene where you're just like sitting down, there's a sound and the lights, and it just like pulls you into the scene. And then the morning scene where you used the light outside the window to make it look like it was a morning, and I just found that so cool, the way that the light was used to create that ambiance of like a lazy morning, even though it was, I'm pretty sure, like 8 p.m. or something like that.
I love the scene where I'm just kind of standing there and there's the arguments happening behind us. Raul's character, he's just like approaching me and he's like sobbing into my shoulder, and she's just kind of like checked out. And I feel like that's something that I felt also like in relationships. I like the last scene where it was like she was just telling him how you didn't really want a relationship with me, like you didn't really want to like enjoy the time we're spending together. Like we're going on dates, but we're not like enjoying that company time. Like you just want me around for like your own convenience.
The hardest parts?
Definitely sound.
There was a lot of technical difficulties in this last film.
I think the pre-production,
Actually directing, and especially if you're also doing the cinematography.
I'd say the hardest part of acting is the emotional labor.
It has been very hard for me to actually have really good sound. For my last short film, we recorded the audio after shooting.
you don't make a plan, you go into production, it's a mess. Then you go to post-production where you're editing, and it's like you can't do anything.
When I was involved with Project Static, we had to do a lot of guerrilla filmmaking.
We literally just went to places and just started recording. We're like, we're here, and we just were like, let's just act like we belong here.
We had to go into these houses that they were being built, and we were sneaking in at night because they didn't have any doors.
We're not doing anything wrong, we're not doing anything illegal, we're just like some college kids trying to do a movie.
I don't know how illegal it was. So right now, someone's probably living there and they wouldn't even know that the film took place there.
It could be really stressful with the time constraints. In my personal experience, I used like locations that weren't my own. So it's easy to underestimate how long it could take to set up certain shots. Being as time efficient as possible.
A lot of acting, I think, is being able to feel emotions and being able to evoke them in yourself. And the more believably you can evoke those emotions in yourself again, the better and more convincing, more honest you'll be to the audience.
Not throwing any shade to my friends, but like we came unprepared. They wrote stuff that wasn't really possible, especially with your script. If you can't do it, don't write it into the film.
What I've noticed is that most have an idea about a story, they just make it, which I think is good, but it would be better if, for example, before making a short film, I always stop for a minute and actually think what I can do, what resources I have, what music I can use, in what locations I can film here in Laredo. And then based on that, I write the story.
Like, it's not to limit yourself, but like to make sure that it's not something that you run into later, a problem where you're like, God damn it, what am I gonna do now? It's an important part of the script. Always make sure that you're able to do what you're writing.
I think that way you can really make the most out of the resource we have here in Laredo. I think that definitely helps to improve the level of local filmmaking. I think for filmmaking, you actually have to do it, and that's the way you learn.
It's always good to practice and just like shoot anything you can with it. You'll have more control over it to look the way you want it to look. When it comes to writing, just practice that. Think about the things that made you want to do this. Tell a new story that only you can really write, like something from a personal perspective.
There's like no way to learn if you're not gonna try it. So I mean, obviously you can search up YouTube videos and learn, but if you're not going at it, you're not gonna progress. If you want to write, just write and write and write. If you want to film, get a camera. It doesn't even have to be like a fancy one. There's so many people that make badass films with just a phone. Anything is possible, even if you have minimal equipment.
At this level, you usually think that you need a lot of equipment, or you might think that you need a lot of people to make a short film, but you can really start with the very basic.
My stuff is pretty good. It's not something that a lot of people have because it's my hobby and I'm willing to spend my pretty dime on it. It's an investment. You could easily edit on a tablet or on a phone if you really want to make something. We are in an era in which filmmaking is very accessible.
It's been a year since I got my first camera. I've been doing films for forever without any special equipment.
Something that's great about it, like the more you do it, I think the better you can get, as long as you like pick up on those like things that you could improve on, like that you notice, you can kind of implement that into your next. Learning from your mistakes, it's the most important thing as a student.
I think each short film is getting better. For example, my first short film, I shot it without knowing about the ISO, aperture, and all those things. But then for my second, I already knew all those things. If something is not good in the script, I think it's going to be harder for the whole project to stand out.
I think working with your actors in the pre-production, like rehearsing, giving them the directions before you actually shoot it, having days to rehearse, I think is super helpful, and just to kind of be in the same page.
I think edition can totally change what you had on script. Those two are the most important parts of the process.
And so by the time we finished the movie, I knew that I wanted to really make a kind of a big deal about it. And so I reached out to Laredo Film Society to have a premiere. It was just months of planning. So I made posters, and I planned when I wanted to release posters. I planned where I was going to put posters. I put posters up. I gave it to so many people.
It was the most nerve-wracking, amazing experience. I was so scared. I didn't know who was going to go.
At first, I was stressed out. I was going to be showing a movie to no one.
Honestly, expecting 10 people there, I would have been so happy with that as well.
I spent so much time putting posters, and the whole time I was thinking nobody was going to show up.
So when a lot of people showed up and more people kept showing up, I was like, oh my god, this place is really filling up.
Got a little drunk there because nobody likes seeing themselves. That's a lie. There's some people that like seeing themselves, but I do not join their camp of liking to see myself on camera too much. Nervously anticipating the final version, especially in front of an entire group of people. It's like, oh, don't look at me. I'm very proud of this, but don't look at me.
And there's literally, you guys have t-shirts of the movie, and I thought it was crazy that the silhouette of me standing there is just on people's shirts. That was so cool.
The premiere was so much fun. I genuinely did not expect that many people to show up. I wanted to create a very fun and free event for everybody, as well as with fun physical rewards that people can take afterwards. And that way, the experience isn't necessarily limited to the movie itself.
Looking back on it, it was a very good time, and I'm very grateful for everyone who showed up. So getting to share this experience with my friend Diego, getting this feeling of accomplishment, being able to tell myself I completed a project.
I was so happy to see you guys again, because we hadn't seen each other for a while.
Hearing people's reactions is so fulfilling to me. Going up on stage and answering questions and seeing people that are genuinely interested in our process and how we did it, that's something you can't beat.
For me, the most fulfilling part is seeing the reaction that others have. Getting to know their feedback, it's also very fulfilling.
I love the energy you get on stage. Being able to roll around, being able to jump on stage, being able to sing and play.
Giving me a kind of a voice to kind of give to characters was really fun.
With my films, what I try to do is make others feel related to my characters or to my stories, because that's basically what got me into filmmaking.
Local film community is amazing.
People there are always awesome.
Definitely notice a lot of new filmmakers, especially nowadays.
It's going to be huge. It's already huge.
I think it's definitely growing and getting progressively better.
They're very supportive. I'm grateful for all the opportunities and people I've got to meet.
As long as you are respectful and open-minded, there's always going to be room for you in the film community.
The fact that we have a film society that big with that many creatives willing to collaborate and come together to appreciate each other's works, that are willing to put each other into connections for making more films. It feels like an animal. It feels like a beast that's just growing and collecting more people into itself. It's amazing. The energy is electric.
Like, the thing about these art communities is like they're safe spaces for people. You know, at the end of the day, we have our things that that are interested in. We need those things to like feel like people again.
In this era, it's especially important to enjoy the process of people making things, support them by just watching their stuff.
All of this completely done for the love of the game.
I do just try to give my exposure through Laredo Film, which has been an amazing way to like educate people in our community to learning more about film.
With the Laredo Film Society particularly, lately they've been doing like film festivals, workshops and stuff, so I just want to see more of that, more like willingness to teach in the community.
If somebody asked me where to start, I could point them 1,000 different directions, and any of them would be the right choice. Laredo is booming with art. It is insane how much it's growing, how much it's grown, and like I can't imagine what it's gonna look like in like 5-10 years.
Just make a short film, you know.
To hop in. If you want to be creative, there's nothing stopping you. There's so many avenues you can go down here locally that can get you that experience.
People should go do a painting or go make a movie. Like, even if it wasn't like the best piece of art you put out or the best movie that you put out in the beginning, just do it again. Nobody saw it the first time. Who cares? Nobody saw it the first time. You can just make another one. Other people get to see it that time.
I think at the end of the day, filmmaking is about making what you want, making your vision come true to say something meaningful. It's a very beautiful process. There's going to be a lot of learning, reflecting, and growing. And it's not just about getting that finished result. I think filmmaking is enjoying everything about yourself.
Just support the arts. Like, you don't have to be the most creative person. You just have to have a voice, and you have to be open-minded to other people's art and like the messages that they're trying to say.
I mean, a lot of people think that filmmaking is just entertainment. For example, my grandma hates movies that are more challenging. I'm totally opposite. I think filmmaking is just more than that.
Maybe sometimes as people we feel like, I don't understand this piece of art, it's weird or whatever, but you have to understand, like, there's maybe a story behind it, there's like culture behind it, there's a real identity behind it.
If you think about it, films can inspire someone to get married, to get over a relationship, to find a job, to travel, or to find their passion. Filmmaking is actually very, very important for society.
Sometimes it's just you relate to a character, like you're going through something, and like kind of something like this, like Ode to Phantom Limbs, like I was going through a heartbreak. Literally just be a human and like go make errors and mistakes and don't worry about being perfect.
Support local art. Go watch plays. Go watch movies. Take your friends to go watch plays and movies. Go to Caminarte. Check out the different art exhibits that we have around. Watch lucha and the wrestling that we have here. Go out. Go roller skating. Record everything. Draw everything. Write anything. Consume art. Stay local and express yourself.